Welcome to episode 11 of the Busted Buttons video game podcast, and we got a great show, like all of our shows. All of our shows are great. This one's going to be different because we're talking video gaming. We're going to have a blast. We're going to talk The Last of Us 2 delay and what kind of effect that has on physical releases going forward. How many games should you play at the same time? We're going to have a little discussion on that. We're going to talk some Assassin's Creed. I've been playing Control a little bit. I'm going to give an update on that game and how I feel about it. It's a weird game. It's a weird fucking game, man. And then we're going to talk about some video game coaches. And then we might have some other topics that we get to. We might not get to them. We don't know yet. But Red, kind of starting off with this Last of Us 2 delay and what it means for physical copies and should they release it digitally. How do you feel about all of this?
Well, I think along with the vast majority of people who played the original Last of Us, hearing that it was delayed was, kind of a kick in the nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the most highly anticipated games of the year. We're all hyped up. Anyone that's played the original is hyped up for it. So first and foremost, it sucks that it was delayed. The reasoning that Naughty Dog has kind of given is that they can't ensure during this, during the whole coronavirus pandemic, that people will get their physical copies on launch day. And they really want people to get, whether you buy it digital or buy it physical, people to get to start playing it. People who buy it day one, get to play it at the same time.
Yeah.
That way for a story driven game, you can hopefully avoid, some pretty major spoilers. So I get the logic they're going for. They've said the game's basically done, which is great news, of course. But I think this kind of stems from when Square Enix came out and said that the physical copies of the Final Fantasy VII remake may not arrive day one for people. I think Naughty Dog took a look at that and said, well, we want to make sure our people who get the physical copies, the collector's editions, whatever, don't get the game spoiled for them by people who got it digitally. And I know, if it's just a day or two, is it that big of a deal? Is it worth delaying it? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, get off the internet if you have that problem. Like, if you have to wait a day or two and you're worried about spoilers, just get off the internet and don't look at anything. But, I mean, it's a touchy subject because there's a lot of things that will piss gamers off. And one of those things, like I would say one of the most common things, is if they get a game a day later than like what they're supposed to, or just a day later than launch day. Like, that will piss gamers off probably more than, I wouldn't say more than anything else, but it's at the top of the list. So, I mean, this is a sensitive subject. I mean, yeah, and the whole thing is kind of, with this whole coronavirus thing, it's like a motto of play together. Now, that's not what they're using, but it's kind of the concept of let's all play together. So, I mean, I don't know, man. This is a tough one for me because I'm like, just buy the digital copy. If you like physical copies, I understand. But for me, during this time, like this struggle, like this hard time that everybody's going through, like, you have to adjust. You have to do things differently. And during this time, you might have to buy one or two digital games. It is not going to kill your video game collection. I understand that it is important to you, but you can make the sacrifice on one or two games. And you probably do have some games, most likely indie games, that you have bought digitally. I think everybody, even if you like the physical copies of game, have a game or two that they've bought digitally. So, I mean, I understand. It matters to people. I understand they want the physical copy for people who still want physical media. But for me, just suck it up, just for once, buy digitally, and this will cure all the problems. But, I'm here saying suck it up, but at the same time, I understand. So it's just one of those subjects where, I mean, I'm saying go this way, but I also understand your argument. So I just don't know.
And I'll honestly say, I think the only the people it affects most are if you pre-ordered like a collector's edition or a special edition that has a bunch of like gadgets and collector's items and physical things. Then I can understand not being like, I want to get the physical.
Well, then give them the free digital copy and then like give them those other things later on because they don't need those things to play the game. Unless it was an amiibo, then they would need it. But most of the stuff in the collector's edition, they don't need the first day. So just give them a digital copy and then give them that stuff later on. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's so those people I kind of feel for a little bit. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'm with you. We even had our own one of our guys on our Discord channel was or Discord server. Sorry, I'll get the terminology right one of these days. Was on the fence about the Final Fantasy VII And eventually, I'm pretty sure he caved and just bought digital. So because I think he was having issues with GameStop.
Yeah,
when the stores
that's
closed.
the easiest thing to do right now is just buy digitally and just give it up. Just pass over it for this 1 or 2 times that you can't buy physically.
Yeah, and I get it. Right now, companies like Amazon that are huge distributors of these games, they have a lot more important things to be shipping than a video game. I know video games are great for people stuck at home. I mean, they're great ways to pass time. I'm playing even more now than I have in a long time. And just because I can't go out. So, so I get it. They're a great hobby to have to pass the time. But if a company says they want to make sure, especially for a single player cinematic game, story driven game where getting spoiled would really suck. Like, okay, I'm going to spoil the first one because it's a however many year old game right now. If someone told you like right off the bat, oh, the daughter dies in the first 10 minutes of the game, you don't want to hear that, right?
That's true. That's true.
So I warned you all there was a spoiler coming. So
yeah.
But it's the first 10 minutes of the game, so come on. But anyway, so I can understand that. And, Naughty Dog has built up so much goodwill in the gaming industry. I mean, The Last of Us was amazing. The Uncharted games have been phenomenal.
Yep.
I mean, I look at them a lot like CD Projekt Red, the guys that have done The Witcher. I'm like, in my eyes right now, they can do no wrong. So if they want to delay their game a little bit, maybe even though they say it's basically done, maybe it gives them a little more time to polish it up just a little bit more. You know what? I'm on board for it, but I'm not one to get bent out of shape about delays because, I'd rather the game be good and finished than to ship half-baked.
But here's the problem is the game is, Dave has said that the game is basically completed. So now, okay, you have more time to also put a bug in it. So you can polish it off, but you can also end up putting a bug in it. But I mean, you can only, with the game being finished, I think them and PlayStation can only hold off for a little bit. Because you have PlayStation, they got plans for the whole year. Even with coronavirus, a lot of gaming is digital. There is still some physical aspect to it. But PlayStation has plans for the year. And then Naughty Dog, they have their development pipeline. They have other games that they're working on that they got to get to. So I think this is only something that you can delay for a few months. And then, a few months from now, what if we're still in this situation? You're releasing it only digitally and you're just back to where you were, but it was delayed. And I don't think that would really piss a lot of people off. I would understand the situation. It wouldn't make me mad. So it's just it's a really tough spot to be in right now. It's a sensitive situation
too. It really is.
But release it physically and GameStop will fucking open and sell it. They'll have all kinds of people in their store. So
I can't believe GameStop isn't lobbying them to go ahead and launch it. It seems like the shitty kind of thing that they would do.
We'll open for one day just to sell your game. We'll have 50 people in the store and just GameStop.
And now Naughty Dog, I feel like there are not a lot of developers or like studios in the world that could hold off on a game that is ready. I mean, when you think of like cash flows and income for some of these smaller companies, they were like, no, if our game's ready, we need that shit on shelves, whether it's digital, Steam, whatever, Epic.
Things are different right now. Things are really different. So you got to kind of think about all that. Like everybody has to do things differently right now. So what you're saying makes sense, but we're in a really different time.
Yeah, and like I said, Naughty Dog's got the money. I don't think they're hurting for cash right now.
Yeah, they'll be okay. I guarantee it.
Speaking of all these delays and things like that, and the coronavirus and everything, it's kind of giving you a chance to work on your backlog of games a little bit. So an interesting topic of conversation that we've had just kind of off to the side is how many games should you be playing at the same time? I mean, because we hear a few of our friends, a few of our Discord server folks talk about juggling 8, 9, 10 games at the same time. I'm happy if I can focus on about 2. So
Spamo Man's over there, one of our writers for both TGPC Gaming and Two Guys Playing Zelda. He's over there playing like 10 games at a time, man. I'm like, I can't even concentrate. This is a really good discussion. I think like how many games should you play at a time? How many is too many? How many is too less? I think some of it does depend on the person, like and how much you can handle, how much multitasking you can do, how much you can concentrate on a lot of different things going on. Like sometimes I'm playing a game like just that one game like Death Stranding. I still don't know what the hell's going on. So for me to play another game and not understand what the hell's going on in that game either, it's just too much. But I mean, for me, I like to kind of set around 2 to 3. And it really depends. And I also like to do those on different systems. Well, now I got into PC gaming, so I guess there's 4 systems technically. You can call them different things. But for me, I mean, I really do like to have one on. not one on each system. I would say I stick around 2 to 3 because any more than that is just too much. I like them to be different genres. I'm not playing 3 open world games. If I'm playing 3 games at a time, I'm playing like a linear game, like or a hub game or a open world game or a racing game. Like, they're all different in their own way. That kind of mixes things up. And I think it gives you like a good break from the other games that you're playing. Like I've tried playing 2 open world games back to back and could not do it. So I can't imagine playing 2 of them at the same time. But how do you feel about all this?
I'm generally in the same boat. I try to stick to the 1 per system rule, definitely.
Yeah.
And even that usually, I'm in the same boat as you. I've got all 3 major systems plus a PC. So for me, I'm only playing 3 right now. I'm not playing any computer games at this particular moment. So, and the big thing is for me, I forget the controls. Like I'll be sitting there playing one game and my mind will like default to a different game's controls. I'll be like, what the hell am I doing? Back on when I first got one of the few people in the world who got a Wii U, I got Bayonetta 2 and Hyrule Warriors at about the same time. And both are third person, like action brawler style games. And trying to switch back and forth between the two, I just kept getting my controls all jacked up. So, and that's an extreme example because they are literally like the exact same genre of game. So I'm with you though, in terms of the number and also trying to avoid the same genre. Like right now I'm playing, Assassin's Creed Origins, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. And I'm like, I don't want to play another third person action adventure game with a bunch of melee combat and bows and arrows and stuff. Cause I'm like, I'll forget. So I've got like, Tomb Raider sitting out there, but I feel like it would fall close enough to the Assassin's Creeds, even though it's got, a little more guns instead of, melee. But I'm like, I feel like it's another third person action adventure game. I'm like, I don't want to do that. So right now, my palate cleanser, when I want to get out of the Assassin's Creed world, I've got Donkey Kong Country Returns, a great, side scrolling platformer. It could not be more different.
Yeah, exactly.
It could not be any more different than the Assassin's Creed game. And I think next, just because I'm with you, I don't want to do another open world back to back because I've already got 80 hours sunk into Assassin's Creed, and I need something a little different after that. I think I'm going to do the Lost Legacy of Uncharted? What's that kind of short add-on?
Yes, the Lost Legacy. That game is absolutely gorgeous. Of the whole franchise, that game looks the most beautiful in that franchise, and I think it might be the most beautiful game I've ever played on any system. That game, especially in 4K, man, it will blow you away. Now, I don't know if I'm talking about like Chloe's ass or the scenery. Both of those things are very beautiful. But it's an okay game. It's a very short game, about 8 hours, but
that's all I need.
It looks beautiful. But you kind of talk about controls. Okay, first of all, the buttons. I mean, like going back and forth between the buttons are a little bit difficult, but most of your controllers have the same button or a similar button layout. They're just labeled differently. What gets me, like you said, is the controls. There are so many controls in games, and then when you add the hold down a button and hold this button plus this button, like for example, on a PC game, you might hold down like the right trigger and then also push a keyboard button. Like remembering all that stuff, it's just a lot. And I think if you're playing too many games and you're trying to remember all this, going back and forth, the stories are getting confusing, they're all going together.
Absolutely.
I think this hurts your experience with the game and like how you would rank it after you play it. So, I mean, like I said, I think it's a good idea to stick to 2 to 3 games at the most. You can kind of like understand what's going on. You can still remember all the controls. I think you had a good experience. So that would be my recommendation. But what I would not recommend doing is playing 2 games from the same franchise at the same time, which
that'd be a lot.
Which kind of brings us to Assassin's Creed. Not that I'm playing 2 games, but we're both playing the game at the same time. So I guess it's not really. That wasn't the best transition, but you know what, folks? We're working on our transitions a little bit, so
we're getting better.
Give us a break there, but let's kind of give an update on Assassin's Creed because we're both playing it right now. I'm playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. You're playing Assassin's Creed Origins. I'm kind of getting tired talking, so I'll let you go ahead and start off and give an update on how you feel about Origins and what's going on with it.
First of all, it's Origins. So
Origins. Are those spelled the same?
Yeah, I don't think Origins is even a word.
It might not be, man. I'm from, whatever.
Anyway, so I am playing Assassin's Creed Origins, and I'm loving it. I've dumped about 75 to 80 hours into it just in the last, and basically since this whole shelter in place thing kicked in, just because what the hell else am I going to do with my time? Drink and play video games is just about it. So, and I got to say, it is a huge jump up, I think, from the previous Assassin's Creed games that I've played. It's just in terms of kind of the progression of your character, the world, the combat, the story. I think I've really enjoyed the Egyptian setting very, very much. I thought it would be kind of an ugly world just because it's, it's a desert. It's Egypt.
But look at Zelda. Zelda deserts are always strong areas.
They really are. But then they've added in enough like green areas. You got the Nile River. You got a couple of lakes. You get a little further like on the west end of where you like start getting to like the Roman Empire a little bit. And it's green and mountainous there. So they actually did a great job, I thought, of breaking up what could have been a very, very dull, boring desert world. Though, like you said, we do always enjoy desert areas in Zelda games, so maybe it would have been okay. But to me, I'm kind of getting to that point. I've almost started the mission where once you start it, they're like, oh, there's no going back at this point. So I know I'm at the end game. But there's still a couple of areas I haven't really explored, a few things I want to try to find, because I'm loving some of like the conflict that's going on in the world, not just what is your character is experiencing, but also like the sociological issues going on. Because it talks about the Egyptians on one side being oppressed by the Romans, on another side being oppressed by the Greeks. And it just really gets into some, and I can't believe I'm saying this about a video game, some interesting politics and things like that. It does a great job of building a world where like these incoming forces are trying to kind of conquer in a kind way, like not by military, but by just coming in and like by influence more than anything. And so some of the stuff you read, you're like, just the little story bits that you pick up just floating around the world, you read them and you're like, I did not expect that level of like kind of social commentary from an Assassin's Creed game. So anyway, I'm really enjoying it. I know I'm close to the end game. Like I said, I'll probably get to about 100 hours by the time it's all said and done. It's been worth it, but I am definitely about ready to be done with it. And I'm not jumping into the next game just yet, which I know is what you're playing right now. Odyssey. So I'll tag you in.
I'm really curious if what was I saying? Origins is a real word or not. Like I have to look that up after we get done with this, because I don't know. My mind just went to Origins. No, it didn't go to Origins. It went to Origins. Now I'm like, was that a real word or not? But I know Origins, and I think I heard it that way. So you know what, guys and girls, I'm gonna mess it up sometimes. I'm gonna mispronounce it. But what I want to talk about is Odyssey, or otherwise known as Odyssey. Sorry, but I am absolutely loving this game, and I tried Black Flag a while back. I think it was on the Xbox 360. And I hate that whole future avatar thing. And so that kind of threw me off of the game. And then I also didn't like the ship combat, which I know you like, and you can talk about that a little bit when we switch up here in a second. But like those two things kind of turned me off to the game. Like I got a little bit into it, but like didn't get very far. And then after that, I just never played an Assassin's Creed game because I didn't really like the one I played. Obviously, most of the games are somewhat similar, so I just never got back into it. And I remember when I started PC gaming, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which I had been looking at for a while, was only $15. So I said, you know what? That's a good price. That's a good start on PC gaming. Kind of been looking at this. Want to try out the franchise again. So I bought it. I've played it. Oh my God. It's like I said, it's blowing me away. Greece looks absolutely beautiful. It has that Witcher feel. I love that whole Spartan point in history, like when the Spartans were going on. I like that whole point. I don't know actually what that was called in time. Whatever. Ancient Greece. History something. But just everything about the game, like the map markings, like these little things mean a lot to me. And a lot of the reason why I like Witcher 3 so much is just how things were laid out and how the inventory system worked. And like, Odyssey, okay, I'll give up on that joke. I'm done with that. But like, I love the map markings, like the little question marks. You explore things, and then when you get there, you have like these little tasks that you have to do, but they're not too much. The quests, like some of them are simple, some of them are hard, which I really love, which is one of my main issues with Horizon Zero Dawn, is that all the quests are like ended with you being an enemy. And some of those enemies were hard. They're usually a machine. Ended with you being a machine. Some of them were hard, some of them were easy, but that's always the way it flowed. In Odyssey, like you have some that are very quick, very easy, and then others that are a little more difficult. And just the whole game, like it encourages exploration and like just finding things, looting everybody. And here's one thing that I fucking love, and every game needs to do this. From what I know so far, there's no limit on anything you can collect, which every game needs to do that. Like when you're collecting like your kind of currency in the game and there's a limit, or when you're doing inventory and there's a limit. Now I think there are inventory slots that I don't know. I don't know if there's a limit to anything, but so far
I've never hit it. I've never hit it in Origins.
Yeah,
Anyway.
so I absolutely love that, because if you have like that in place where you can only collect a certain amount, it like discourages collection and exploring. So I absolutely hate that concept, but Odyssey does not do that to you. I mean, it lets you freely explore. You can loot. You can steal. I mean, just overall, and I know it's ranked as one of the most high. It's ranked highly among Assassin's Creed game, but my voice is going away here. But so like, I mean, I want to try it. I'm absolutely blown away. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm done talking because I'm losing my wind.
That will happen, but I will say, I mean, Origins has a lot of those same features. And I think The Witcher 3 really raised the bar on side quests, on actually making them a little more than just go here, fetch that. And Assassin's Creed with Origins, at least, and it sounds like with Odyssey as well, has really taken those to the next level. I will also say that I played several Assassin's Creed games before Origins, and I was with you. I hated the present day stuff.
Yeah.
And it is almost non-existent in Origins.
Same with Odyssey.
Yeah, I think in the 75, 80 hours I've played, there have been 3 sections, I think, where I was in the present day, and none of them were longer than 10 minutes. I think that Ubisoft has realized, get away from that. That's not why we're playing it. Stick to the fucking historical worlds. Stay away from the present nonsense, which doesn't even make any sense to me whatsoever. Yeah.
But see, I think Black Flag actually did it a lot from what I remember.
They did.
And so that's why I hated it, because it was like, okay, cool. I get to explore this beautiful world, but then you go like to this corporate building and like like all this technology and stuff, and they just went to it too much that kind of took away from the experience. And like I said, that's the reason I never got back to Assassin's Creed until now. But kind of going back to that whole ship combat thing, I absolutely hate. Now, I'm going to look into it a little bit more this play around. I've learned how to play games differently than the first time I played Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And so like I kind of try to learn games more, take my time. And this is the whole thing with the inventory system. Like, you're not going to learn it right away. Like, you have to learn it over the course of the game. So I'm going to take away some time, look at this ship combat, look at this ship inventory, try to learn the whole system and how it works. And I think I will come to like it. But right now, I know my last experience wasn't that great, but you love it. Like, why do you love it so much?
To me, it was just something different than anything I've ever really done in a video game. Like, I mean, yeah, I've played third person, first person, platformers, adventure, action, whatever. And I've even played games like, the old Star Wars Starfighter games and things like that. But something like this where you're sailing a ship around doing ship-to-ship combat was just so new to me. It was unique. The controls clicked really well for me between like launching the mortars long range and then like the up close side-by-side broad shots. It's like, to me, it just really clicked. I also really love the pirate setting. So having like pirate ships battling each other out definitely added to some of the appeal. But I'm a little disappointed because it's not in Origins hardly at all. I've gotten to do it once, I think, and I'm pretty sure I'll have to do it one more time. But I'm glad to hear it came back for Odyssey, because to me, it was just something
You're
new.
You're in the desert. Why are you going to have a ship out in the desert?
Hey, there's still bodies of water around.
But it's mostly desert. Man, there's a lot of ship quests in Greece, Odyssey, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that going on. So like I said, I'm going to step back, try to learn it a little bit. But anyways, as I cut you off, since we're talking about updates on games that are starting to play now, I want to kind of give an update into Control. It's a game that I've started playing recently. First of all, I don't understand what the hell is going on in this game. Much like Death Stranding, like, why do we gotta make the story so confusing? But It was a game that was nominated for Game of the Year, I think last year, correct?
Yep, at the 2019 Game Awards.
Okay, so I kind of got into that. I've been playing it. Like I said, I haven't gotten very far in because I've been doing a lot of PC gaming. Don't understand the story, like I've already said. I'm just going to repeat everything that I've already said. But I will tell you one thing. The mechanics, I absolutely love the mechanics of the game. Like, I'm not going to say they're flawless, but like when you shoot your gun, like it doesn't have ammo. Like you just shoot it and it re-energizes. I love that concept. And I think every game should use it because there is nothing that I hate more than running out of ammo. I did that
Yep.
all the time in Uncharted, and it would just infuriate me. So when you let me recharge a gun, that's a mechanic that I love. And there's like this other mechanic where you bring large objects to your hand. Once again, the game is strange. It doesn't make a lot of sense so far, but you bring these objects to your hand. Sorry, Red.
It's okay.
My voice, allergies, man. These allergies are killing me. But you bring these objects to your hand, and then you just throw them at people. Oh, my God. That is so satisfying. And when your kids are driving you a little nuts, and you can just like go into a game, grab something with your hand, and just throw it at somebody, like that is a fantastic release. But like I said, not too far in yet. Don't really understand the story. I'm loving the mechanics, so I don't get a lot of time to play because of kids and PC gaming. And I get distracted, but playing a little bit here and there. So far, I'm really liking it. Like I said, the story's got to improve somehow. I got to understand a little bit about what's going on. But I kind of want to give an update on that game because it did, well, like I said, it was a nominee for Game of the Year, so it has been ranked as a very high game. But kind of going along with the shooting games and like trying to learn them, there's been an increase in video game coaches during the pandemic. And I kind of want to get like, how do you feel about these people? And it's a touchy subject because a lot of these video game coaches have lost their job or they're like, on hiatus. But how do you feel about video game coaches and like kind of that whole model of making money?
Well, first and foremost, it blows my mind to even think that a video game coach is a real job. Like to me, that is just, I would like the kid in me grew up playing video games, never could have imagined living in a world where video game coaches were a job. But now that you see games
that's because we suck so bad, man. We couldn't even fathom becoming video game coaches because we were nowhere near good enough. But go ahead.
No, so now though that like Fortnite and Overwatch and like League of Legends and some of these other games have become so prevalent in society as a whole, like people, groups of friends and stuff, you want to be a better, this is not even getting into like the real competitive scenes, but just with groups of friends, people want to be better so they can compete with them. Or if you're playing together so you can, you don't get left behind. So I think it's a really cool concept and a really cool idea that, like I said, I could not have imagined just 10 years ago before like some of these, like I said, your League of Legends, your Fortnites became as big as they did. And as you kind of mentioned there, it's a great way for people to make money right now in a time where a lot of people are losing kind of their, quote unquote, real world jobs, for lack of a better word. I know for some people coaching is their, coaching video games is their full-time real world job. So I'm glad that they can hopefully keep doing it remotely or some way. But I'm glad that it's an option out there for people who are good enough. And if there was ever a time to either, coach or to be coached so you can get better, it's now when you've got more free time, most likely to play these games. So it's such a mind-blowing, like I still have a hard time wrapping my mind that that's where we are in video games, that you can actually get paid to help other people get better. But hell, it's a whole esport now, so why not have coaches just like real sports?
This all makes sense, and this concept has been around for a while, but I honestly didn't hear about this until today when I was kind of searching around for topics. Like, it makes sense that it does exist, but I did not know it did exist. And Red, I was going to bash this. I was absolutely going to bash this. And then I kind of looked into it. There's kind of people are losing their jobs or they're on hiatus and they can't make money right now. So this is something they're doing. So I was kind of like, okay, that's cool. I really like that whole aspect of it. And I mean, these people now, they're probably not charging as much right now, but I saw somewhere they were charging like $25 like an hour or $60 for 3 hours. I mean, that's pretty decent money right there. So
heck yeah, it is.
I never knew that you could make like money, like that much money doing something like this. Now, obviously, you have to have the credentials to do something like this.
For sure.
Like you can't just say, hey, I know how to play video games. You probably can't even show people. Like you have to have, I would think, like some kind of awards that shows what you have done so far. It's not just something you can jump into. Hey, because I could say I'm a great video gamer, but if I try to coach somebody, you're going to be worse. You're not going to be better. You're going to be worse than when I got to you. But like kind of, I don't know what my next point was. Oh, you kind of already touched on it, but I also want to talk about it. And that is, when I first read this, I thought it was all about competitive gaming. Like people are hiring coaches because they want to be competitive gamers or they want to be streamers. And, I do think that sometimes the better streamers are the better players. Now, I think there's also a level where you can just be funny and be kind of a comedy show and not be such a great player.
Yeah. Personality
when I first read it,
sure.
I was thinking straight up competitive gaming, but this whole, you just want to play with your friends. Like you just want to get good enough. Like you want to have a coach so you can just play with your friends and have a good time. Like that is pretty cool. Like I really like that concept. And like you said, the times that we're in right now, a lot of people are home. They're in isolation. They want to talk and see their friends, but they can't talk to their friends on the phone or whatever, but they can't see their friends. And this is a great way for them all to do something and communicate. And if you suck at something like me in Halo, like it's hard to enjoy with your friends. Like when the stats are coming up and like, it's like 18 kills, 16 kills, Hick, 2 kills. Like it hurts, man. It hurts. And so like, at first, like I said, I was going to bash this, but once I read into it, I was like, you know what? This makes a lot of sense. And it makes a lot of sense now for both people trying to make money and then also for gamers who are just want to play with their friends and kind of going along with it, but not. Like, I think like during this period, one thing that is actually very cool, there's not a lot of cool stuff happening right now, but I do think that one cool thing is I think some people are getting back into video gaming. They've not done it for a while, but now they have the time or they're bored and they're trying new things. So I can see situations where these video game coaches are helping people get back into gaming. And this is something that I went through in my life where I took a little bit of a break from gaming. It's more of a kind of, you got to grow up. You're out of school, you're out of college, blah, blah, blah.
Fuck that.
Realized that was stupid a couple years later. But, I got out of gaming for a while and then I got back into it. And it's like been a journey, like an incredible journey since then. So hopefully these people, whether they're bringing in coaches or not, that are getting back into gaming and doing it with their friends, hopefully this takes them on a journey that lasts longer than this pandemic and they're able to enjoy video games for a very long time.
Yeah, I'm absolutely with you there. And I mean, there's not a whole lot else to say about it. It just, when you were kind of sitting there talking about bringing people up to speed so they could play with their friends, it reminded me of like jumping into a game that maybe your friends had played for a little while, but you've never played. And what they had, there's a concept out there for online games called power leveling. Like if you have a party that gets together and like, let's say 3 of your friends are all like, just level 80, whatever. And you're just starting out like level 1, level 2. Like you could join in their party and they could run through some higher level content. And since they're so powerful, it's easy for them, but you still get all that high end experience, equipment, gear, everything like that, that it really like,
that sounds like cheating, man, to me.
It kind of is.
That's taking the easy way out right there.
It kind of is, but it gets you to where your character is more on the same level, at least stats wise. You as a player may not be as good. If
now, I'm not going to sit here and say I wouldn't do it. I'm just saying it's a little scandalous, all right?
It is. It absolutely is. But it's just, it's this coaching, I feel like, is the next natural evolution of that. If you want to be able to brag with your friends or even just play with your friends, or if you are really good and on the cusp of being able to be professional, why not get a coach just like you would any other athletic competition? So I'm all for it now. Like I said, it's something I've wavered about the last couple of years since it became a little more prevalent, but I'm in the camp of, heck, you know what? If people are liking it, people are making money off of it, and players are getting better and not getting ripped off, which I'm sure there's some shysters out there.
Yeah,
and you know
definitely.
What? It's not a bad thing. Let it. I'm all for it.
Now I'm going to need some coaching when it comes to building my PC because you know what? I don't know if I'm going to do that yet. I'm very early in my PC gaming endeavor, but I usually know when things are going to work out and when I'm going to continue doing them. I do feel like PC gaming for me is going to continue into the future. I am going to build my own computer one day because that stuff to me is just cool.
It's so much fun.
I need to look into it. I need to learn it, but kind of like getting to know all the parts. And just putting the whole computer together. Like I'm a tech guy. I don't know all the technology. I don't have all the gadgets, but stuff like that to me is very cool. And so like I said, I'm going to need some kind of help, probably from you, probably from my friend Boswell on how to build a computer. I will need some coaching. But one thing that I really I'm upset about one thing. And wifey, if you're listening to this, I'm talking to you right now. I ask, you see all these PC gaming setups and you see these PC towers and desks that they have these neon lights. And I think this is the most incredible shit in the world, man. I don't give a shit if I'm 36, okay? Yes, I'm in my late 30s. I think neon lights are fucking cool, man, and I
Right?
want them. And I kind of always liked that synth vibe of the 80s, and neon lights reminds me a lot of that. And when I was talking to my wife the other day, I was like, hey, can I get some neon lights on my desk? Which obviously, like, we're building a home. We're trying to make it look like a home. So you don't want neon lights and all this crap. We're not in college anymore. I understand that point of it. But I'm going to put these neon lights, like, you're not going to see it. Like, it's kind of going to be hidden in areas, or I'm sure that you can turn them on and off. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you can turn them on and off.
Most cases.
But, like, I mentioned this to her, and she's just, like, completely against it, which infuriated me, because I'm like, hey, they're not going to show, you're not going to see them, so we're going to have a talk about that. We're going to have a talk about that, and I'm going to fucking pout till I get what I want. I am not going to lie. I am going to pout until I get what I want, but these PC towers, and this is one thing that excites me so much about PC gaming, these towers with these neon lights and all the specs in them, and obviously they have the glass so you can look through and see what's in their computer. Like, that's really getting me into PC gaming. I know that's a part you love, and you can kind of talk about it, but just that whole, like, bringing everything together, how it looks, it just looks cool. Like, you could probably put neon lights on a PS4, but you can't make it look the way a PC does. And, like, I'm sure you like that, so go ahead and talk about it.
I absolutely do. And it reminds me, and this is probably not something you'll be doing, but, like, there for a couple of years in a row, I would go to an event called LAN War down in Louisville, which was just a huge LAN party. A couple hundred people into the university's convention center. Everyone would have their computers set up on desks. You're all crammed into a pretty small space. Hygiene wasn't the best by Sunday of the long weekend. But anyway, moving on. But one of the best aspects of that was just walking around and seeing everyone's setups. Like, there are people there with, just a simple little gaming laptop. Hell, even gaming laptops aren't simple, though. They've got lights usually, too. But then all the way to these computers.
Mine doesn't have any lights. I messed out. I could have bought one that had lights, but go ahead.
But then just seeing these giant computer towers that are just decked out. You can see ones that have, like, water cooling systems. Like you said, you've got the neon lights. A lot of the components now that go into computers have lights on them. Like, I can look in the side of mine and see my video card lit up. I mean, it's not just the lights on the case itself these days. So I'm a huge fan. I support it. I go by the rule of cool when it comes to computer cases. Like, if it looks awesome, and it's still, you make sure it's functional, make sure it has good reviews, of course. But man, if it looks awesome, it's gonna draw attention when people see it in a good way. Like, I love the lights as well on that. Like, I love.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm 100% on board with it. Like, mine, I look at it, I'm like, yeah, that looks pretty fucking cool. That's what I'm gonna go with.
See,
but I will happily help you out when it comes to building a computer. I've had you mentioned our friend Boswell. I've had his help for a couple of them, so I think I've built 4 now. I think so. I've got the process down all right. I know there's people out there. It's like 4. I built 4 in a month. I'm like, I don't build them for all my friends. Okay.
See, wife, neon lights are cool, and Red does like them, so I'm not the only one. They will be hidden. You can turn them on and off. All I ask for is just a little bit of an escape. Just a little bit of escape from these kids that I love so much. I love them, but they drive me insane, man. And I just want a little bit of an area where I can turn on neon lights, put on maybe my Bose headphones, and just go fucking crazy for a little while and lose my mind. So we'll get worked out. Like I said, I'm going to pout until I get it. I'm just going to pout. But anyways.
Well, I support it. So if you need some backup, I'm there. I'm with you.
From everything I've seen, like, online, everybody that builds their PC has some kind of cool neon lights either on their desk or on the tower. Like, I'm pretty sure, once again, it's a computer law, a PC gaming law. Just like the keyboard and the mouse, having a cool computer tower with neon lights. It's a law. I don't make the rules. That's just the rules. But anyways, sadly, Red, it is that time to wrap up, and it flew by today. But first of all, I don't even have my notes up for the wrap up.
I just scroll down my notes too.
Yeah. All these links will be in the description, but you can support us on Patreon, which is a monthly thing, or on PayPal. If it's only $1, that's absolutely fine. Anything helps. If you can't support us financially during this time, we understand that it's really difficult out there, but you can also help us out by leaving a review or a rating on whichever platform you're listening to us. That greatly helps us out. And then we have merchandise on our websites, TGPZ Gaming and Two Guys Playing Zelda, and we may earn a commission on if you purchase through our links. Reggie, kind of want to talk about our Facebook groups, YouTube, Discord, and social media.
Well, we're all over social media. We've got two Facebook groups. Mm-hmm. We've got a Gaming Realm where we talk about all video gaming in general. And we also have Zelda Realm, which is our, obviously, Zelda dedicated channel. Out on YouTube, we've got two guys playing Zelda on YouTube. Great video rankings, things like that. All kinds of good Zelda content. We've got a Discord server where we talk all kinds of video game content. We have a lot of good discussion on there. You hear us mention our regulars fairly often in this podcast. Yep. We love those guys and girls, whoever's out there. And then you can find us on Twitter, Instagram. We already mentioned Facebook. So go out there, jump into the gaming conversation. We have a blast with it. Stay safe during these crazy times. Stay to those shelter in place. Keep the good hygiene, everything you can to keep yourself safe, social distancing, and use this opportunity to just keep on gaming.